Priorities USA, Josh Schwerin, and Fox News contributor Marc Thiessen for more. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Good to be with you, Shannon.
Okay, Marc, we heard a lot this weekend from the 2020 field about things that they think need to be addressed monetarily. I'm not sure how it's going to be paid for. Some of them have an explanation, but not all.
Well, I tell you, when I'm watching the debate this week, or the two debates this week, I'm going to have to keep a calculator so I can keep track of all the money that all of my tax dollars that they're planning to spend. I mean, to put this in perspective, Shannon, the New York Times recently reported that the Social Security Trust Fund is going to be completely depleted in about 15 years, which will mean that there are going to have to be across-the-board cuts in benefit checks of 20 to 25%. So if you're retiring in the next 15 years, the government doesn't have enough money to pay your Social Security benefits that they promised you. The Times also reported that the Medicare trust fund is going to be depleted in 8 years. So our existing entitlement programs are in crisis. But instead of addressing the crisis in the existing entitlement programs, the Democrats have come up with a whole litany of new entitlement programs that they want to create. We're not going to fix Medicare. We're going to have Medicare for all. We're going to have free college, student loan forgiveness, universal child care, universal basic income, affordable housing, government jobs guarantee, African American reparations, same-sex reparations, and Green New Deal. How are we going to pay for all of this? There's no money to pay for all of these things. If you add up what they're talking about spending, it's over $100 trillion. So, let's fix the entitlement programs that we've already promised people before we start coming up with a litany of free stuff that we're going to give away that we don't have the money to pay for.
Well, and Josh, Republicans or Democrats, anybody who talks about reforming entitlements, it's sort of the death knell. We all remember the commercial about the grandma being pushed off the cliff in her wheelchair. If nobody has the appetite to tackle that, which we have projections that they're in trouble, what about adding in these new entitlements, if we're going to call them that?
Well, it's interesting. A few months ago when Republicans passed a $1.5 trillion tax bill that wasn't paid for, that exploded the debt and deficit, they didn't complain about it. They said it didn't matter. It would pay for itself. That wasn't true. It hasn't. We've already seen that coming true. Now, Bernie Sanders did introduce a very expensive plan for debt forgiveness, but he does pay for it. There's a $2 trillion pay for in there. You can disagree with the policy, and some Democrats do, and I'm sure a lot of Republicans do, but it is paid for. So that's a really false argument from Republicans who just blew up our deficit with this tax bill that was just a massive giveaway to corporations. So that's really disingenuous.
Okay, Marc, what about that tax bill?
Completely wrong. Look, Bernie Sanders says he's going to pay for it with a 0.5% tax on all stock transactions. The Congressional Budget Office has scored this, and they found that if you do a 0.5% tax on stock transactions, it will actually reduce revenue going in to the federal budget because, one, it's going to reduce asset values, so you have less capital gains to tax, and second, it's going to reduce the number of transactions because people are going to naturally avoid the tax, so they're not going to have transactions, and when the transactions reduce, then there's less revenue coming in. So actually, Bernie Sanders' plan will not only explode the debt and the deficit, but it actually will reduce the amount of revenues coming in to pay for this and other programs that he's proposing.
Okay. You'll notice Marc didn't address the tax bill, which was the thing that has already exploded our deficit dramatically.
All right, Marc, I want to give Josh some more time, but anything quickly you want to say on that?
Well, I want to say that the tax bill is what is driving this economic boom that has lowered that has created. We now have the lowest unemployment in 50 years. The economy is booming. African American employment is down. The women's unemployment is down. Hispanic unemployment is down. Okay. And people at the bottom of the economy, who are the people at the lowest rungs of the economy, they're getting the most benefits. They have the lowest unemployment rate ever in recorded history.
Okay, let's refocus
I'm glad Josh doesn't want that to be happening.
Let's refocus onto the new promises. And Josh, final word to you.
Sure. I think what I'm really happy about is that Democrats are putting forward policy ideas to improve people's lives. If you remember the 2016 debates, it was like Marco Rubio and Donald Trump arguing about hand sizes. I'm much happier to have Democrats arguing about how do you make college more affordable, make it more possible to get a good education in this country. That's a debate I want to have, and we can talk about how we get there, but that's a positive step, and I'm proud that Democrats are talking about it.
Okay, we're going to have special coverage of Wednesday and Thursday night, the debates where they finally all face each other on the stage. Josh and Marc, thanks for facing each other tonight. Great to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, brand new video of Justice